Hi everyone, we're back for our last part of the series where I wanted to ask Claire about what God has done in her life since releasing her from her marriage, and just to show you the hope that is in God. Nobody wants to have divorce as part of their story or a tragic ending to something, but she's evidence of God's goodness despite a very hard circumstance and something she wouldn't have chosen. So I just wanted her to share a little bit with us about what it's been like since the divorce and what God has done and doing in her life now.
There has been evidence of God's goodness in the wilderness. Actually, that's what it's felt like in the wilderness of post marriage. He has been there on a very practical level. Even when it comes to finances, when it comes to providing a home for me, the support structure that he's put in my life. So I'm just so aware of his provision on a financial level, and I'm extremely grateful for that because I know that's not every woman's story.
Yeah.
But he has also renewed and is awakening parts of me that I felt like they were dormant for years. So on a spiritual level, and even a personality level, awakening the adventure, the life, the hope within me, and doing that through others, through meeting people, through a renewed understanding of his scripture and his closeness. At those times where I kept thinking, should I go back? Did I do the wrong thing? Because that's part of it. The wrestle is real, and it's part of the journey of life. He has just reminded me again and again through scripture that my story is not over, and that there is hope, and there's a future, and there's always hope, and there's always a future. And the story, and I cling to that. The times where I felt like the times where it felt really dark, and I use that word dark, sinking into depression some days. He held me so much by just this hope, my child, hope, my beloved. It's not over. It's not over. And eventually those days of depression became less and less, and there were more and more days of joy. And my world has now expanded. I've ended up moving cities, and my world has come to a place where it has expanded with so much richness in the forms of new experience and people, and a new renewed understanding of him, and a new life that he has brought. That even when he spoke those words of hope to me when I did leave my marriage, I truly never thought it would be this level of life that he was bringing to me. And my heart, it doesn't take away from the fact that my heart still longs for family. My heart still longs for a significant other in my life. And there's that yearning, and then nights where I go to bed wishing I could hold a little Bubba in my arms, wishing that I had someone to hold me when the day has been hard. And I go to bed with such a full and grateful heart that he's brought release, and that he's brought such life. And it's come to realize that it's about the both. We can hold the both at the same time. But his story for us is a story, and his story over my life is a story of redemption and hope and healing, and the fact that he brings life, and life to the full. It might not always look what we think it would look like, or the avenue that we get there might not always be the avenue that we anticipated. But when we seek after God, he's a good and faithful Father. And I can testify to that.
Isn't that so beautiful? It's not often that you hear that kind of, and it's authentic, that kind of hope and an expectancy of good to come in her life. Most people after a divorce would be battling a sense of shame or failure, and yet God has done such a great work in your heart to almost to be like, I'm giving you another chance here.
Yes.
And what's so awesome is that you really just making the most of the season while you don't have someone else in your life, to just enjoy life for what it is, and see new things and do new things and explore, and you're making the most of the season, which I think is so great. But I think the reason you can do that is because God has given you hope and a sense of life in your heart, which you needed, and that comes from God alone.
Yes. Yes.
And I think if there's something that anyone in the situation who maybe have gone through a divorce or are going through a divorce, or is to just to see this as evidence of God is going to be with you through it all, and he is good. And your story is, there's a lot of your story that is still unwritten.
Yes.
So have hope, dear one. God is not yet finished.
Yeah.
Bye for now, everyone.